We were on our way to Santa Cruz de la Palma. Christoph was heading back to La Gomera and had a ferry to catch early the next morning. And Natasha and I were curious to see the other side of La Palma. And as well, we wanted to check out the city of Santa Cruz. As we were rounding the northern end of the island, the wind was favorable, and we set the sails. There are only two marinas on the island, Marina Tazacorte on the west side and Marina La Palma on the east. Weather conditions contrast here dramatically. It's always different due to the effect the coastline has on the wind. For example, at the tip of the island, the wind was very calm, so we pushed on a bit by motor sailing. Then, the northeasterly swept the side of the island and gusts jumped up to 30 knots today as we neared the city. We coasted in doing a cool 6.5 knots with just the mainsail. We moored in the Canaries' newest marina. Marina La Palma is spiffy modern, perfectly located a few minutes walk from town, and has one rather unique characteristic: the swell, which at times was not swell at all. Anyways, we came here to see the sights. And look at this. It's a 5-minute walk from the marina. How's this for a crowded city beach? That being said, it was a little chilly and windy. Santa Cruz is the island's biggest city, and pretty tranquilo, except when a cruise ship releases a few thousand punters to the shops and restaurants. The conquistadors put their sainted cross or Santa Cruz here beautifully but violently. As the legend goes, Spain had a tough time conquering the native Guanches led by King Tanasau. They would hide in the densely forested mountains and from there would fight off the Spanish army. They were swift and lightly clad with spears and rocks, while the Spanish soldiers were weighed down by heavy armor. They'd ambushed the invaders and generally kicked ass. So the crown took a diplomatic approach and offered the Guanches a deal. The location was set out of the mountains on open ground, and they met to negotiate. The Guanches were duly crossed. King Tanausu was taken captive, chained and gagged and shipped to Spain as a trophy. He refused to eat in protest and died on the voyage upholding his right to be free. The Guanches were conquered, and for those that survived, well, they were forced to take on Christianity or suffer harshly. But many years have passed since then, and Spanish influence has left its mark rather beautifully.
So much color here. Beautiful color. Wow.
Here, more than all the other islands, you can really feel the Latin American breeze. The colors, wafting music, and flowers everywhere. There is a large population of Venezuelans, Colombians, Cubans, Bolivians, and other South Americans, and is the best demonstration of what is really unique about the Canaries. You're not in Europe anymore, but you are. The Latin culture here makes you feel like you're in a South American country. Yet, you're in Europe with all the modern functioning infrastructure. It's quite amazing.
abrazos del mundo me da. Mi alma se desborda de emoción. Nunca antes había sentido así. Espero que ya sienta.
It's spring and it shows. I could not have a better model for this episode. I almost feel like I'm directing a commercial for a hip fashion line. Life here is not just black and white. It's the full spectrum.
Bailar, bailar, bailar con mi corazón.
We'd spent most of the day wandering the city streets, and we're back on dear old Galapa, who was getting pushed around. The swell. Like I said before, it's really not that swell.
Bailar con mi corazón. Bailar con mi corazón.
Yeah, we did the urban thing. Now it was time to head out of town and up. We left the marina and made our way out through the city streets and up through massive avocado orchards. Best you'll ever eat, by the way. La Palma is a veritable cornucopia of fresh produce. There are fruit trees everywhere, lush and loaded with nature's bounty. And being spring, the flowers have exploded and send out their aroma. It's like a walk through the perfume section at the mall, except it's 100% natural. I had asked for instructions at the tourist office, and we were guided by the signage. We got off the roads and headed up a trail.
Here we go into the jungle.
This one was really off the beaten track. Seemed like no one had been on that trail for quite a while. The vegetation changes as you hike up, and we are going up. It was steep. Canarian pine tree is different from those found elsewhere. It has a unique ability to survive forest fires. The thick bark protects the tree at the base, and the tops seem to go unharmed. The other difference with these pines is that they sprout 3 needles, as opposed to 2 in the rest of the world. As we climbed up, we reached the cloud canopy. Here the vegetation has adapted to capture the moisture so that it drips down to the forest floor. It practically rains when there is no rain. It's strangely eerie. It's cold. You can feel the spirits of the Guanches and a fear of Spanish soldiers about to be ambushed. Then you get above the clouds. The sun warms you up and you get a reminder of where you are. In the Atlantic Ocean, land of the Guanches guarded by King Tanasau. And in the distance is El Teide in Tenerife. I felt as if I was being watched, and I was. According to a local national park guide, these crows will rob you blind. They'll open the zipper of your backpack, poke at your earrings, steal your camera.
What do you want, fella?
He said they have caves in the cliffs loaded with treasure, inaccessible to humans. And how's this for a reward for hiking up 2,000 meters?
Some were good and some were bad. Some were happy, some were sad. Some of them might look a bit like you. Summer rain and then came fall. Winter snow and spring and all. Some of them might look.
We are on the crest of the volcano. Behind there is Caldera de Taburiente National Park. And on the west side of the island is the city of Los Llanos and the Marina Tazacorte. And somewhere under the clouds there is the east side of the island and Santa Cruz. We did not stay long as we had a long walk down. Another 10 kilometers in distance and 2 kilometers of negative altitude to climb down.
Some were happy, some were sad. Some of them might look a bit like you. Summer rain and then came fall. Winter snow and spring and all. Some of them might look a bit like you. So I always wondered why.
We wanted to get back before sundown, which we didn't. My camera ran out of batteries here. We were still way up in the clouds and ended up walking all the way back to the marina. It was past 11 when we were back on Rock and Roll in Gallipan. No bus or taxi and no cars going our direction to hitch a ride. But Natasha got a ride.
Natasha's leaving us. She's going with Mel and Dan on this boat called Cerise. Cerise, cherry in French. And she's going to El Hierro. And I think we'll see her again. She got a taste of the sea. You're a great friend, great traveling partner, my little African girlfriend.
She'll go to El Hierro Island, and I'll be sailing 100 nautical miles solo to Tenerife.